ThreePlusKei, your favorite social worker. Welcome back. I'm here to encourage you to pursue the smile by prioritizing the Lord, your physical health, and persistent education. I am currently on the north side of Missoula. I was just at a pop-up shop with beautiful things, so I'm not on a mountain or in the woods like I typically am. But the question posed today is, what's the wisest advice you have received, you've ever been given? What's the wisest advice you've ever been given? And for me, my auntie, who is no longer with us, when I was 19 years old and about to turn 20, I asked her for advice for my 20s. And she said to be bold and courageous. And at the time, it sounded, like something good. It sounded mysterious. It was a little vague. Be bold and courageous. But I would return to that advice throughout the decades now. At one point, I wanted to get into entertainment, and I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have anybody mentoring me. I didn't have any money to get started. I didn't have anything. I didn't have any knowledge about the industry. But what I did remember is to be bold and courageous. So I just put one foot in front of the other. I started promoting parties, and then I became a DJ, and I learned the power of saying yes to yes to opportunities. I think a major problem with many people today, young and old, is not realizing when an opportunity is being presented to you. And it could be an opportunity that you don't want to do, but that you should do. And you need to be bold and take advantage of it. Hi, Mina, XOXO. And so what we're talking about, guys, is what's the wisest advice anyone has ever given you? And I'm saying my auntie, when I was 19, about to turn 20, told me to be bold and courageous. And so over the years, I have returned to that advice. And it could be, I may have been in a bad relationship and scared to move on. There was a time 5 years ago, I moved to Georgia. I moved from California. So I moved across the country with people that ended up not being a good fit for me. And I stayed in it for a little bit because I thought to myself, well, I moved 3,000 miles. I have to endure it. And then at some point I was like, be bold and courageous. And so I just moved. I ended up moving to a different state. And I learned the power of being alone. I was alone for the first time in my life and was able to gather strength from these circumstances. It was pretty incredible. What's your advice on how to give wise advice? Well, I'll tell you this. The question is, what's your advice on how to give wise advice? So first of all, does the person want your advice? And the context is that I'm a social worker, right? So I have all the advice. But oftentimes people aren't interested in what you have to say. And then you kind of have to self-reflect. Why is it that I think I know better for this person than what they know for themselves? And could it be that the way I would handle a situation is the way that they would handle the situation? So here's something. I used to be morbidly obese. And when I was morbidly obese, I said, I'm fat and happy. So somebody could have said, and people gave me advice all the time, you should eat less and you should, and I'm like, I don't care. I don't mind being fat. I'm still dating. I still have an active social life. I don't have any health complications. So why would I address this thing just because you want me to? So somebody's wise advice was never asked for in the first place, and it didn't fit into my life at that moment. So it could be that we're even arrogant to think that our advice is superior to what the person has going on in their lives. It's kind of like if you ask somebody, how do I make $100? There's 100 different ways to make $100. You know, it doesn't mean that every way to make the $100 fits for that person. If they don't have a car and you say start door dashing, and that's your wise advice, that wasn't helpful at all. So that's what I would say. What's your advice on how to give wise advice? Ask them first. Is it okay if I give you some advice? And then go from there is definitely what I would say. It's raining, guys. So I'm going to head to my car. We could do a quick little, so you can see what Missoula looks like. You can see the mountains. Missoula is beautiful because there are mountains in every single direction. So this is a regular, you can see the mountain in this direction. You can see the mountains all over here. Mountains. All the mountains up here. It's so wonderful. People ask me, why do you live in Montana? And it's like, well, it's quite literally like a postcard wherever you go. And then I live in Missoula, which is a college town. So there's kind of like a youthful energy here. There's always something to do. I started this by saying that I was just at a boutique pop-up shop, you know, and that's something to do. William, hi. Hi, William. And William says it's snowing for me. Where are you at? Where are you at, William? Is it a small town? No, actually, Missoula has about 100,000 people. Montana itself has about 1 million people. So Missoula, has 10% of the population of Montana. So, you know, we have multiple bus lines. We have probably like, I think 14 different bus lines because it's spread out. We have a college here and a community college. It is racially homogenous, so 88.8% white. But at this point, I'm not sure that I notice that much, and I tend to stick to myself, so I'm not really outside in these streets. There's a train. That's what you hear in the background. I would turn the camera around, but there are people. I want to make sure that I am respecting them. Oh, I see somebody has a G-Wagon. That's pretty amazing. But yeah, so the next stop, and I don't know how the internet is going to hold up, but we are going to go grocery shopping. So let's see how that goes. You're in Virginia? My town, William says, my town population is like 360. So what do you do for fun? What does your town offer for activities, William? Let's see here. I'm going to just protect my anonymity for a second here. There we go. All right. We are on and poppin'. So one of these things, I have to take my stuff to Goodwill, obviously. A common problem. There we go. Not a lot of things. Well, what do you do for fun, William? How about that? You do something for fun. You don't just sit there, I bet. There we go. Okay. So you can see me. We're on our way. Not a lot of things. I play video games. You know, here's an interesting thing to me about, let's put the heat on, baby. It's 34 degrees. An interesting thing about video games for me is that I grew up poor. And the result of that is that we didn't have video games. We had we had Barbies, but we took a big mixing bowl and filled it with water, and the big mixing bowl, I remember it was a dark brown mixing bowl, and we would dip the Barbies in, and that was their swimming pool. And you best believe the Barbies weren't real Barbies. They were probably some cheap knockoff version. Oh, here we go. There we go. All right, we're gonna head on the road, and I'm gonna think about what other wise advice I've been given. I think throughout my life, let's get out this way. Throughout my life, I've been very blessed to have people come alongside of me and look out for me and give me solid advice, such as make sure that your phone is secured when you are driving. I think that's really wise advice that somebody's given me before. Oh, you know what? I think this isn't going to stay for some reason. Typically, I use my other phone. Let me see if I can park somewhere. We'll park right here. If you can see, I'm over by the railroads. So there was a point when I was wanting to go to grad school, and I would say it's as if I don't even, it's as if I don't even want to go because I'm not completing the application. I haven't written the essay, and I was talking to my cousin, and he said, just start. So even if you write one sentence, even if you write a paragraph and it's the worst paragraph known to man, at least you have some type of framework for your entrance essay. And I started, and I thought that was really wise advice too. I do have some videos where I'm encouraging people, just start the thing that you've been wanting to do. Because how else is it going to get done? You know? And then when you start the thing that you wanted to do, once you've started it, you need to be consistent with doing it. So when I first started the YouTube channel, I posted one video on Sundays. And now I post 4 videos a day, 8 a.m., 11 a.m., 2 p.m., and 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I also learned the difference between live streaming and long form. So it's not even good enough to be consistent. You need to be able to learn your craft as well. So, all right, let me see here. William says you have an advanced vocabulary. I do. I got tested multiple times throughout the years when I was a youth, and I did always score rather high on anything English related, spelling, oration, which is, verbal communication, that type of thing. I also would encourage everybody to throw away your TV and read books instead, or work on your craft. I don't believe in watching TV or movies. I think it's a plot. It's a plot to dumb us down. If you want to read a really great short story, it's called Harrison Bergeron by Kurt Vonnegut, and it takes place in like 2050 or whatever, or the year 3000 or wherever. It takes place in the future, and essentially everyone is equalized by the government. So if you're very strong, you're mandated to have weights put on you. If you're very beautiful, you're mandated to wear a mask. If you're very intelligent, you're mandated to wear an earpiece that has like sharp sounds in it. And eventually the guy, Harrison Bergeron, breaks free of his mask and his earpiece and his weights, and he fights back on the system. And it's so amazing. I read this short story when I was in 7th grade, and I understood the concept of our society attempting to dumb us all down, right? So we have the introduction of substances. We have, I mean, I could go on and on. But anyway, I have a strong vocabulary because I read and don't watch TV in part. And I try to like pay attention. So let's see. Vishnu says, hi, and how are you, ma'am? Hey, I like the manners there. I am so well. I was just at a boutique pop-up shop. I am wanting to go to the store. Maybe about a month ago, I went to this market called the Heritage Market in Stevensville, Montana. And it's run by the Mennonites, who are very lovely people. But anyway, one of the many items I picked up were candied apple wraps. So you don't have to make the caramel and dip it. You just put the wrap in the oven and then fold it over the apple. So I today am wanting to go to the store and pick up some apples and make candied apples and take them to the dome. I want to eat these. I want to eat 4 candied apples today. That is definitely on the agenda. Now, this is one of the beautiful parts about being an adult. I can do that. I can do whatever I want. And what I want to do is eat 4 candied apples on a rainy Saturday. Okay? You see what I'm saying? Let's see. Martin Luther Jr. I don't know what that means, but shout out to MLK. And William says my mom gets those all the time. The candied apple wraps. You know what I should do? There is wisdom in finding somebody to share my candied apples with. But I don't know about you guys. I'm always around people. I'm a very social person. Sometimes I want to be left alone. Sometimes I want to mind my own business. And today is such a day. So at some point, very, 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 very soon, I'm going to get off this live and go get me 4 apples and wrap them in caramel and take them to the dome, just straight, just like that, because I can do that in my life, right? So let's see. Let me see if I can leave you with what's the wisest advice you've ever been given. So I said one piece was from my auntie, who said to be bold and courageous. And so then the responsibility, let's talk about that. The responsibility, once you get wise advice, is to follow through on it. So just a side note, sometimes people, you don't know my life story, but I have demonstrated resilience and grit in my life and diligence. Sometimes somebody will say, Lakitha, I am so inspired by what you're doing. Okay? Hey, Ben! It's Ben! Sometimes people say, I'm so inspired by what you're doing, and then they don't do anything with that inspiration. And it's like, so it didn't motivate you. My life story or my things, going to grad school or fostering children or losing weight or whatever it is. Why would you say it's inspiring? And I think it's maybe something you just wanted to say that sounded nice. But anyway, when you get wise advice, the follow through is vital. And then not just the follow through, but doing it with consistency, doing it passionately, and then learning more about what you're doing. And friend, here's one thing that we do as silly humans. Don't ask for advice you're not about to take. Otherwise, I think maybe what you're wanting to do is complain in a way that somebody will care. Right? So let's say we could take losing weight again, right? Because that's a common thing. So you might just want to wallow in the fact that you're fat. And I think that's okay if that's what you want to be doing. But don't ask advice like, how do I lose weight when you're not about to take any of the advice whatsoever. So that's another piece about wise advice and wisdom. Somebody else, just to reiterate, said, oh, bye, William. Come back again next Saturday, 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and then we have a live stream Bible study on Mondays, 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We're going through the Gospel of Luke. Hello. It's as if this is my first time. But anyway, somebody had asked the question, how do you give somebody wise advice? And I think the first step is to check ourselves if we're being arrogant. Like, why is it that I have this knowledge? Like, this person didn't ask me not one question, and here I go. You know what you should do? Ain't nobody asked you. Ain't nobody asked you. And then you're going to get your feelings hurt because you got cussed out. Because nobody asked you for your thoughts and opinions. You know what I mean? If you have advice, and you really wise advice that you feel is wise, and who's saying you have the wisdom anyway? But if you have the wise advice and it's burning you, and you must tell the person what they should be doing, my wise advice is to ask them, can I give you some advice? You know, I actually have you could look when I get off of here. I have a series called Advice You Didn't Ask For, which is tongue in cheek. What does it say? I should just win the lottery. Wise words to myself. Amen. One time I bought Ben a lottery ticket, and I was hoping, he said he would split it with me. I was hoping that one of us would win. It was the Montana Millionaire. Needless to say, since I'm sitting in a train yard, I did not win the lottery that day. So anyway, this was a good chat, guys, on wise advice, when to give it, what you should do with it. Once you receive it, and some of the wise advice that I've received throughout my lifetime, which is to be bold and courageous, to just start the thing, to be consistent, to learn your craft that you're wanting to be good at or excel. You can't excel if you don't know, you know. Like, I like to cook, and then somebody was like, you need to make a roux. I'm like, what's a roux? I don't care. So the indication is that I don't really want to be a cook. True. I want to put some rice in a bowl, baby. You know what I'm saying? All right, guys. This is enough of all of these shenanigans. I need to get out of this train yard. I need to get into the store to go eat my 4 caramel apples. Okay? And my mom is calling. So, anyway, who am I? Did you guys subscribe? Make sure you hit the subscribe button. I didn't even say that. Anyway, my name is 3+Kei. I'm your favorite social worker. I am here to encourage you to pursue the smile by prioritizing the Lord, your physical health, and persistent education. This was Ask a Christian Social Worker. I'm here every Saturday, 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So come on back, hit the subscribe button, like this video if you love it, and share it with someone who might benefit or be entertained by these antics. And with that, I will talk to you later.